Imagine you're in session. Your client pauses, takes a breath, and says, "You probably won't understand this, but in my culture." And in that moment, something shifts. They've just handed you a test, not a test of your knowledge about their culture, a test of your willingness to be humble about what you don't know. So here's the thing. How you respond in the next 3 seconds determines whether that door opens wider or closes completely. Let's sit with this moment. When a client says those words, "You probably won't understand," they're doing two things at once. They're reaching out to share something important, and they're protecting themselves from being misunderstood. Both of those are happening simultaneously. That little phrase, "you probably won't understand," is actually an invitation wrapped in self-protection. They want to tell you something real. They're just not sure it's safe. Your response in this moment either confirms their concern or dissolves it. So let's look at what most coaches instinctively want to say. "Of course I understand." It feels reassuring, right? It feels like you're connecting. Here's why it's actually dangerous. When you claim to understand something you may not actually understand, you've just shut down the conversation before it started. Your client was about to teach you something about their world, and you just told them they don't need to. I've seen this happen with coaches who genuinely mean well. They want so badly to connect that they overreach. They think saying, "I understand," creates safety. But what it actually creates is a wall of false confidence that blocks everything that wanted to come through. Now, here's a different approach. What if you said, "You're right, I probably don't understand, but I'd like to." Feel the difference? Those words open a door instead of closing one. You validated their concern. Yes, you might not fully get it. And you've expressed genuine curiosity. You want to learn. I once coached someone whose cultural background was completely different from mine. And at one point, she started to explain something and then stopped herself, assuming I wouldn't understand. I said, "I don't know what that's like. Help me understand." She visibly relaxed. That simple admission created more safety than any claim of understanding ever could. 3 words. Help me understand can be one of the most powerful invitations you offer a client. This is what we call cultural humility, and it's different from cultural competence. Here's the thing about cultural competence. It suggests you can become competent in all cultures. You can't. Nobody can. There are too many cultures, too many contexts, too many individual variations within any culture. Humility is the practice of always learning, never assuming you've arrived. It means accepting different ways of thinking and being as valid, even when they're unfamiliar to you. Part of having a coaching mindset is to be accepting and understanding of different ways of thinking. You may get clients where you don't quite understand their context, and you definitely don't understand their culture. What you can do is be open and accepting and listen and validate their experience. That's the posture, not expertise, openness. So let's get practical. What does this actually look like in session? First, ask rather than assume. Every assumption you make is a door you close. Every genuine question is a door you open. Second, check your interpretation. A simple, "Is this how you see it?" gives your client the chance to correct you or go deeper. Don't assume your understanding is accurate just because it makes sense to you. Third, be honest about what you don't know. This is where coaches often struggle. We want to seem competent, but your honesty about your limitations actually builds more trust than pretending you have none. And here's a counterintuitive one. Stay curious, especially when you feel certain. The moment you think you've got it figured out, that's exactly when you need to ask another question. Here's the paradox that changes everything. Sometimes not knowing is more valuable than knowing. When you release your need to understand completely, something shifts. You create space for the client to teach you. And in that teaching, they often discover things about themselves they hadn't seen before. Your curiosity becomes the catalyst for their exploration. The client teaches you while you hold space. That's the heart of coaching across difference. Not becoming an expert in their experience, becoming an expert at staying curious about it. Here's what I want you to take from this. You don't need to understand everything about your client's world to be helpful. Your role isn't to be an expert in every culture, every identity, every lived experience. Your role is to create space where exploration can happen. Curiosity and humility, those two qualities practiced consistently, will allow you to coach anyone. Understanding others starts with understanding yourself. Next, we'll explore how self-awareness becomes one of your most powerful coaching tools.